Hey everybody, it's Party Elite with another episode of Total Breakdown. We've got a pretty interesting battle today where RigidGeth's Empire takes on Mehpit's Greenskins. Boris Todbringer leads the Empire on horseback with Foe Seeker, Deadly Onslaught, Stand Your Ground, Crush the Weak, and the Midland Runefang. A Light Wizard comes in to provide support with the Net of a Mintok and Arcane Conduit. 2 units of Swordsmen come in, ranked up to rank 3 each, and 2 units of Flagellants accompany them, one ranked up to rank 2 and the other to rank 1. On top of that, we've got 2 Halberdiers ranked up to rank 2 each, a unit of Handgunners ranked up to rank 3, the Silver Bullets, and 4 units of Reiksguard ranked up to rank 1 each. The build is certainly very different from what we're used to seeing. Typically an unbreakable line of Flagellants and Sigmar's Sons make an appearance, but this looks like the Empire was maybe anticipating an enemy of largely Savage Orcs and perhaps a small cavalry contingent. On the other side of the field, an Orc War Boss leads the Greenskins on piggyback with Foe Seeker, a Potion of Toughness, a Potion of Foolhardiness, Stand Your Ground, and Wah. A Night Goblin Shaman comes in to provide support with Sneaky Stealin', Sneaky Stabbin', and Itchy Nuisance. 2 Goblin Big Bosses come in with them, atop Spiders with no abilities or potions on them. Then we've got 2 units of Orc Boys, 2 units of Savage Orcs, one ranked up to rank 1, a unit of Orc Biggins ranked up to rank 1, 3 units of Black Orcs, a unit of Night Goblin Archers ranked up to rank 1, Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers, and an Arachnarok Spider. Now, this army seems to suspect a largely infantry build on the other side of the field. There's little in the form of cavalry, which is very risky, and anti-large support has largely been forsaken for an army that leans heavily towards being anti-infantry, particularly with 3 units of Black Orcs. Alright, as always, we're going to start with a conversation about deployment, and it's relatively simple here from both sides of the field. We are going to start with the Empire, however, of course, again, relatively simple. We've got an unbreakable center here. The 2 units of Flagellants, obviously unbreakable. Then on either side, we've got the Swordsmen, and behind them we have the Halberdiers. And these guys able to protect any flanking maneuvers coming in from cavalry, able to stop anything from coming in, or also pull back and protect these handgunners in the center, who of course are in a pretty safe spot to open fire from, between these gaps here or here or here, able to open shots off and easily protected. Meanwhile, off to the side here we have the Silver Bullets, and since they do have stock, they won't be seen until they get much closer to the enemy. This is very risky placement. I think the idea here was to get around the sides of the enemy and then open fire from the rear, from the side. It would be unobstructed, so not a terrible call, but it's extremely risky. On this map, it's a little bit safer because this giant hole here prevents any flanking maneuvers from coming in, but it's still not the safest thing to do. Meanwhile, on the left flank here, we have these 2 units of Reiksguard already pushing forward the entire Empire army, as you'll see, and these guys want to get around the enemy, and they want to come in from the flanks, from the rears, try to get some rear charges, and really support that front line. Meanwhile, all the way to the right here, you'll see the other 2 units of the Reiksguard, and this is, again, pretty standard deployment for this map. Both sides of the field have done something similar. These guys trying to come in from the flanks, get some rear charges in afterwards, and it's a good idea to keep people on this side because it's not an easy thing to intercept, so you can kind of expect this on Glacial Lake. Now, the Greenskins have done something similar, but first let's discuss their core army. The center of the Greenskin army is the strongest point. In the center, we've got 2 units of Black Orcs, we've got both Goblin Big Bosses, we've got the Orc War Boss, and the Arachnarok Spider. Then either flank isn't necessarily weak either. Savage Orcs aren't weak units. They've got Frenzy, they have War Paint allowing them some damage resistance, so they'll be able to hold their own and cause some damage as well. But over here in the center, sort of in between the center and the left flank, we've got just 2 units of Orc Boys, so that's a little bit weaker than the rest of the army. And then over here we've got some Orc Biggins, and these Black Orcs will be able to support them, but the Orc Biggins really should be pulled out to the flanks because these guys are sort of the only anti-large unit that the Greenskins have, so they need to be ready, especially after seeing all those Reiksguard. They need to be ready to push in and respond and prevent any rear charges from coming in. But as the army moves forward, let's take a look here. On the far left, as seen from the Greenskin side, we've got this unit of Night Goblin Archers and the Forest Goblin Spider Rider Archers. Now, I guess the thinking here was to get around the side here and get, again, some free shots, just like the Silver Bullets are trying to get some unobstructed shots from the rears. These guys are trying to get around the other side, get some shots off, and it's not the worst thinking. The Night Goblin Archers have stock, so they'll be able to get pretty far before being spotted, but the moment you see these Reiksguard on the other side of the field, on this side of the whole, pull back. Neither of these units stand a chance against the Reiksguard here, so it's absolutely necessary to pull back. Now, the Spider Rider Archers will be able to outpace them, will be able to outmaneuver them, but the Night Goblin Archers, not a chance, so pull back. With that said, though, both armies are pushing towards each other, trying to get that early aggression in, trying to get as many hits in from a distance, I'm guessing, with these handgunners right from the get-go. And again, you'll see the silver bullets sort of waiting. And this is actually really clever. The entire army pushes this way, forcing the Greenskins to meet them over here, giving the silver bullets more space to maneuver and get shots in from the rear. So very small decision there, and I'm going to assume it's intentional. Very small decision there, but very important, because had they not done this, had they just pushed down the field, the silver bullets here wouldn't have the space required to cleanly get around the enemy. So nicely done there. Meanwhile, over here you'll see the Night Goblin archers have now been spotted, so the Reichsguard are very confident in their charge. Nothing to be really worried about. Sure, there's some poison coming in that'll slow them down, but they'll close the gap pretty easily. You'll see also as the Empire army pushes forward, the formation is rearranging a little bit. These halberdiers are pushing towards the center. The only large unit that the Greenskins have brought in is the Arachnarok Spider, so they want to be prepared for that Spider to try punching through the flagellants, heading towards the handgunner. So these guys are forming up in the center, ready to hold that Spider back. Now, as we resume to full speed, you'll see, as these guys are all pushing forward, the Black Orcs, again, everything sort of concentrated in the center, and unfortunately, that allows them to be targeted by the net of a Mintox. So the entire strength of the Greenskin army is now stuck in the center here underneath the net. Great use of the net there. There's no real rear charges or anything to fear in particular. So getting the strength of the Greenskin army stuck in place before they're able to get any damage in, great move. And now the handgunners are able to just open fire at the Arachnarok Spider, get a decent amount of damage in to both health and morale. So good net placement there, and unfortunately everything gets caught in. When you're playing as an army that's facing the Empire, and the Empire has a light wizard, this is something you have to be very wary of. The moment you spot a light wizard on the other side of the field, try and spread apart your high value units. You want to be able to sort of share that damage dealing capability, and you want to make sure that not one clump gets shut down like this, because that's exactly what's happened, and the Greenskins are going to regret this. They always did also have the option of falling back, but instead they opted to charge in full scale, and that is a bad decision here. Pulling back is not shameful, despite what the Greenskins would have you believe. Pulling back would have been a good idea right now, but instead you'll see the Savage Orcs charging into the Swordsmen. They'll do a decent amount of damage, especially on the charge, and 2 units of Orc Boys diving in on the Flagellants here. Unbreakable flagellants, so they'll be able to hold them back, hold the line for a while. And you'll see the halberdiers here continue to move into position just in case and for when the Spider gets free. Meanwhile, the handgunners continue to open shots off on the Arachnarok Spider. And again, these guys over here trying to shut down this left flank as seen from the Empire's perspective. Over here, the Reichsguard still trying to close that gap there. The Forest Goblin Spider Rider archers and the Night Goblin archers pulling back, trying to get into some safety. But again, speeds will just not be reduced by enough on the Reichsguard to prevent them from closing the gap with the Night Goblin Archers. So those guys are more or less doomed as long as the Empire stays committed. Now you'll see the silver bullets at this point, they have been spotted, but they're slowly creeping around the side here, wanting to get some shots in on this right flank to provide some support. And as we resume to full speed, you'll see the handgunners continue to open shots off at the Arachnarok Spider. Meanwhile, over here, you'll see the Savage Orcs chasing down this unit of Reichsguard, and these Orc Biggins, unfortunately, stuck in against these Flagellants and the Swordsmen. The Orc Biggins really should have been pulled back to chase after the Reichsguard, or to chase after this unit of Reichsguard. Instead, those guys are allowed to come in from the flanks and now have sort of free reign. They control the rear side of this battlefield because these Orc Biggins are 2 preoccupied fighting units that, I mean, they can hold their own against, but really they shouldn't be fighting. Meanwhile, the Arachnarok Queen here is trying to, or sorry, the Arachnarok Spider here is making a mad dash towards the handgunners, it looks like, and the handgunners continue to open shots off. It would have been very wise to actually send the Arachnarok Spider over here against the Flagellants, or over here against the Swordsmen. And yes, those are longer paths to engagement, but diving in towards the handgunners or even to the halberdiers is a terrible thought here, because of course the Arachnarok Spider is large, already damaged by all this handgunner fire, so very risky play there. Meanwhile, over here you'll see the silver bullets have opened shots off to the sides of these Savage Orcs, getting a decent amount of damage in. Again, these guys now, though they had a good charge, they did a decent amount of damage at first. They're going to lose all that, not only with the strength of the swordsmen, but also that fire coming in from the side. And you'll see it does a decent amount of damage almost instantaneously. So really great play there with these silver bullets. And you'll see here in the center, the Arachnarok Spider, not the Queen, the Ragnarok Spider, taking shots and surrounded by these large units. And meanwhile, over here, a charge coming in from this unit of Reiksguard that was just allowed to come around to the side here, and now able to charge into the Orc Biggins. A risky charge because these guys are anti-large, but they're not in formation. They're not able to brace or prepare for themselves for this charge. So a decent charge comes in from the Reiksguard. They just need to be pulled away right away. On which note, this unit of Reiksguard kept engaged for a little bit too long. Yes, they're winning their engagement, but cycle charges will do a lot better than staying engaged like this. So though they are winning their engagement, if they were cycle charging, they would have done a lot better. Meanwhile, over here, you'll see we've got Itchy Nuisance going down, trying to protect this core of units, trying to save the Ragnarok Spider, the Stand Your Ground, as well as Wa go down, trying to cause a lot of damage to these Halberdiers, but that's just a risky situation to be in. Again, the Ragnarok Spider could have, at this point, pushed through into the handgunners and shut them down, and then followed up by chasing after these swordsmen, perhaps, or the Flagellants. Meanwhile, the Black Orcs as well should have been sent in against the Flagellants or hold the Halberdiers in place. One unit of Black Orcs can hold 2 units of Halberdiers in place, and the Ragnarok Spider had many more, well, much better uses. Meanwhile, over here, you'll see the 2 units of Reiksguard have pushed through. One is chasing these Forest Goblin Spider Rider archers away. Not necessary. That gap is very hard to close. These guys have poison arrows, so they would have been better used actually down here, providing some additional support, just like this unit of Reiksguard is doing, coming in to provide some support to the front. And you'll see on this right flank here, the Savage Orcs have already given up. They've caused a fair amount of damage to the swordsmen, but they're basically wiped out at this point. Now, again, as we resume, you'll see this unit of Reiksguard here just caught in melee for a little bit too long. Again, cycle charging is a good idea. They finally decide to pull away, and over here you'll see as this unit of Savage Orcs retreats, this unit of Reiksguard headed towards the Orc Boys, just collides with them, tosses them aside a little bit, and gets a decent charge in there as well, doing a lot of morale damage and some serious physical damage as well. So great job there. The Flagellants holding the line for long enough. Well, they'll hold it forever, allowing the Reiksguard to come in with a nice rear charge and now pulling away right away. Great management there, just pulling away instantaneously. And you'll see here the Ragnarok Spider taking a lot of damage. The Halberdiers, of course, doing a lot of work, but the handgunners too getting a lot done. And here, the swordsmen, they've taken care of the right flank, and now they're pushing in right away. And this is great. Envelopment like this is great. And honestly, we don't get the chance to see it enough, but very quickly taking care of this right flank and then just pushing in, hoping to maybe help the Flagellants survive. At this point, it seems very unlikely. There's only 11 of them left, but hoping to, sort of get these guys, push them over, then get both of these guys and push them over. It's a very standard maneuver, and we get to see it well managed here. The Reiksguard came in, pulled away, and now they're getting involved over here, and the swordsmen are coming in with a rear charge to finish the job. And meanwhile, over here, this unit of Reiksguard getting a nice rear charge onto these Black Orcs. Great work here, just trying to cause some damage, trying to save Boris Todbringer. Of course, he is getting regeneration through the Midland Runefang, but he is taking a lot of damage, so you want to try and prevent that, and this is a great charge. A lot of damage going through. Now, Black Orcs have extremely high leadership, so the leadership damage, while it is decent, it won't make the biggest difference. The physical damage there is really worthwhile, and you'll see here the Ragnarok Spider already routing. Barely has 16 kills to its name and is now on its way out, and you'll see these handgunners opening shots off, wanting to get rid of the Ragnarok Spider, making sure it's dead and not coming back later on in the battle. Great call there. You want to get rid of something like that. Excellent. Well done. Meanwhile, over here, you'll see another net of a Mintok, allowing the Halberdiers to get free and allowing Boris Todbringer as well to get out of there. So great use of the net once more, and now you'll see the focus fire comes in, trying to focus down on the Orc Warboss. Not a bad call. Trying to get rid of Greenskin leadership is a good idea, but at this point, a single volley on these Black Orcs could potentially have broken them. So it would have been possibly a better idea to just get one volley from both of these units onto this unit of Black Orcs to get them to rout and then open fire on the Orc Warboss. With that said, though, focusing on the Orc Warboss is not a bad idea whatsoever. Again, trying to reduce that Greenskin leadership, and you'll see at the same time, we've got both these units of Reiksguard coming in for a rear charge on these Black Orcs. They're going to do a decent amount of work here. You'll see lots of morale damage, lots of physical damage. The Orc Warboss beginning to give up. All that range fire coming in as well is definitely not helping his morale, and you'll see the Black Orcs are eating some shots as well, of course, since they are in a massive clump. Over here, the Goblin Big Boss does come in to try and prevent some of this handgunner fire. Good move there. You want to prevent the ranged fire, so finally we see some of that happening. And over here, unfortunately, these Orc Boys are routing, so they're on their way out. The Black Orcs here able to fend their fend for themselves against the Flagellants as well as the Reiksguard, and again the Reiksguard having to cycle charge. You'll see this unit of Reiksguard Very well played here, just sort of ping-ponging a little bit. They dove into this unit of Black Orcs and they're diving in here soon afterwards, but unfortunately this unit of Reichsguard just left, sort of abandoned there without any orders, so the Black Orcs are able to just catch up to them and start beating on their horses, and they will do a lot of damage. Black Orcs are armor-piercing, and sure, they're not anti-large, but some stationary Reichsguard like that, they're not meant to be in melee combat, especially for a long duration, so they did take some hurt, and finally they are being pulled back, and you'll see this unit of Reichsguard does come back for that cycle charge, does a decent amount of damage here, and then just pulls away. So great cavalry management here. It's wonderful to see a good amount of cycle charging every once in a while, forgetting the cavalry units, forgetting to give them orders, but that's entirely acceptable. There's so much going on the battlefield. It is hard to manage. You'll see over here now, the two units of Reichsguard are sort of sandwiched between the Goblin Big Bosses, the Orc War Boss, and the Black Orcs, but honestly, it's not going to do much. Everyone does start to shatter among the Greenskins, and it is a Pyrrhic victory for the Empire. And this was a great show of why one really needs to observe the opponent's army before making any moves. Having seen the Light Wizard, as I mentioned, the Greenskins should have spread their high-value units out to the flanks so that the entire strength of the army wouldn't be held down by one spell. And failing that, when the net went down, the Greenskins should have pulled back. A tactical retreat can prevent unnecessary losses. Patience could have saved the Greenskins a fair bit of trouble, though they should also have gone in with some additional anti-large, preferably in the form of cavalry. Against the Empire, it's a pretty safe bet that you'll be up against some form of cavalry or another, if not a flying lord. Best bring some anti-large. As always, guys, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. As always, I think this is one of the best ways to learn. It's great to see battles from a variety of skill sets, and it's always interesting to see how different commanders are leading their armies. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.